Welcome to the I Can Do That podcast. I'm Jem Fadling, spiritual formation coach, author, and founding partner of Unhurried Living. With 30 years experience in spiritual formation, I help people grow by combining grounded optimism with practical spirituality. This effective dynamic will guide you onto the path of discernment so that you can transform your hopes into habits. Each episode, I'll share one practical idea with one simple takeaway. Together, we'll grow at the pace of transformation, and you'll move into your day saying to yourself, I can do that. A few years ago, when Alan and I were in the early stages of writing What Does Your Soul Love?, we spent a week in a Utah cabin outlining the entire project. This cabin was remote with no internet or cell phone coverage. There was one old-fashioned plug-into-the-wall phone in case we needed to communicate with the outside world. It was absolutely quiet except for the blowing wind, the chirping birds, and a noisy chipmunk who hung out in the tree on the side yard. Now, I was raised in a small town in the country, and this slow way of life is how I grew up. However, I have spent the last 3 decades in Southern California and the last 2 decades in Orange County. So let's just say that another unwilled pace now often revs inside of me. We had originally planned to stay at the cabin for an entire week, but about 2 days in, I suggested that we could leave a day early. I couldn't imagine being in that quiet of a space for that many days, and knowing it would be even one less day relaxed me just a bit. I didn't realize it right away, but my body and my mind were going through a kind of input overload detox. The sounds and the pace of my regular life were absent, and on that particular day, I just felt itchy inside. Get me out of here was my only thought. That much silence and remoteness exposed my anxiety and how uncomfortable I was. Alan heard my plea and agreed we could leave on Friday instead of Saturday. Good, I thought. That will help. That evening before bed, as I continued to read Thomas Merton's new Seeds of Contemplation, I came across this quote: Unnatural, frantic, anxious work done under pressure of greed or fear or any other inordinate passion, cannot, properly speaking, be dedicated to God, because God never wills such work directly. What? Those words were like a splash of cold water to my face. They woke me up. They were a direct blow to my anxiety. Frantic work is never God's invitation. Simply being reminded of this was enough to quell that low hum of anxiety. And yet again, the mirror was held up to my tendency to push, try, and angst. And in that moment, my need to escape evaporated. The next morning, I told Alan I would be okay staying the whole week, so we laughed, and I gave thanks to God for his patience and care for my heart. If I know anything about myself, it's this: I want all that I do to be dedicated to God, and if anything stands in the way of that, I want to stop doing it as soon as I am able. So I decided to sink further into this reality. The Lord is my shepherd. I have everything I need. The ways of Jesus are found in the Great Commandment, the fruit of the Spirit, the Sermon on the Mount, Psalm 23, and more. We do not see Jesus moving frantically or anxiously. Even with all of his interactions, he always shared this underlying dynamic. I do what the Father is doing, and I say what the Father is saying. He always knew what he was about, and he felt no need to push or to burn the fuel of anxiety. Jesus was not frantic. Todd Hunter, our bishop, has said, Jesus is smart. Jesus knows how to live. He is stunningly brilliant. And I believe this, don't you? My anxiety-ridden ways are proving to be an engine that burns dirty. So I continue to learn how to take my cues from Jesus, my stunningly brilliant Savior. How about you? Here's your I Can Do That for this week. Identify an area in your life in which you are moving frantically or anxiously. Remember, as Merton said, God never wills such frantic or anxious work. How might you make an inner shift that leads to working from a non-anxious heart? Remember, you're making your way forward one small, simple, and gracious step at a time. If you want to make further progress in your own formation, I encourage you to pick up a copy of my book, What Does Your Soul Love? 8 Questions That Reveal God's Work in You. In it, you'll find themes such as desire, resistance, vulnerability, fear, and joy, and such questions as, what do you really want? Where are you hiding? What's getting in your way? And what's most real to you? Holding and living the questions is a great way to cooperate with your own growth process. So go ahead and pick up a copy of What Does Your Soul Love from your favorite bookseller.